Welcome to Next Step Advanced Sketching Techniques, and today we're going to sketch a zoo scene, a photorealistic zoo scene. Alright students, let's get started. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sketch a tiger. And tigers have upside down V-shaped ears, and they're going to have cat eyes because they are basically related to a cat. Well, they are very related to a cat. Indeed, they are a cat, just a larger size. Cats that are what are called domesticated or pet cats are just cats that have been in captivity or maybe cattivity for an extended time of a year or two, maybe a generation, and they've eaten cat food. They don't have to eat the larger animal preys, so their surface area goes down. But beyond that, beyond the size, cats are the same as tigers. Tigers are able to breed with other zoo animals, so they are segregated from the other zoo animals. Tigers can breed and create offspring with giraffe, hippopotami, certainly some of the larger animals. There's a good chance that the tiger will be able to successfully breed. Elephants are able to receive the tiger, so certainly they want to keep the elephants and the tigers separated. The tigers are going to have bushy, hairy chins, and they're going to have furry bodies. Now, tigers have really short, almost like they've been chopped off tails that are very, very small. That's kind of a telltale sign, no pun intended, of a tiger. And here I'm just going to do a backwards, kind of a flipped P, if you can see that. And then tigers are going to have really sharp nails to kind of pounce on that prey. And then another reversed or flipped P, or you could say an upside down backwards D, upside down backwards B, or an upside down lowercase d. Will get you to the same result. Now, tigers don't only have two legs; they have one on the other side. So to keep this photorealistic, we want to honor reality. All right, so maybe this tiger is drinking out of this bowl here, and then tigers, just like any other animal, including elephants or squirrels, even lizards, any of the mammals are going to use a tongue to drink. So this tiger is drinking, and maybe he's resting on a little bed of mulch here. All right, what other zoo animals do we expect? Well, if this tiger is here, he needs to be segregated. So he's going to be in a little box cage at the zoo, so he cannot attack the zoo patrons or even the zoo workers. So these are just kind of bars to keep the tiger, and then these bars are going to kind of perpendicularly go over the top because the tiger can jump out of a box as well. And then you're going to have bars on this side as well. So you're going to have bars here. In the back is usually, for a tiger cage, is usually pushed up against a wall, so you don't have to draw the bars against the wall. So this tiger's in a bar. And let's move down to our next animal here. So one of the telltale signs that you're in a zoo is going to be the ubiquitous giraffe. Giraffe's going to have really long necks. But what we're going to do here is we're going to kind of work in reverse order. We're going to start with a giraffe body. And giraffes have kind of, almost looks like they're segmented or curved. Almost looks like the end of a rattle on a rattlesnake. So speaking of their tails, and then they have this big thing coming out that looks like a broom, the end of a broom. So there's your giraffe. Almost looks like it's shooting water, but that's what a male or female giraffe looks like. And then they're going to have two hooved toes. And this is to protect them from predators in the wild. They can dig the hooves in to the dirt or to the rocky soil, and kind of get more leverage. We want to honor physics. We want to honor reality in our drawings to keep them photorealistic. All right, we're going to do the front hoof, and then this hoof back here, this hiding. All right, now giraffes are going to have spots. We're going to do a series of gently cornered squares and gently cornered rectangles. And we're just going to do some light shading in some of these, but not all of these, because the patchwork is consistent with different shadings, different intensities of shadings. Now let's do the most important part of the giraffe. It's going to be the giraffe neck. The giraffe neck demands 90% of its metabolic energy. In fact, a giraffe can only hold its neck up at a constant time for a few minutes before it needs to lay down, just from sheer being tired, the muscles being overtaxed. So oftentimes you'll see a giraffe laying on its side. And giraffes tend to have really poor posture. Now they have very, very large eyes, and we can see where form follows function. And form follows function with a giraffe in the sense that it's so high up in the sky that it's going to be able to peer down. It's going to have these really big eyes. And giraffes have long snouts to be able to, so basically they're going to pick out animals from the tree, like we're talking tree squirrels, smaller birds, any type of prey. Maybe this giraffe sees put his tongue out. He thinks something looks delicious. Maybe he sees something in a tree nearby that he wants to eat at, or to take that long neck and access. Giraffes are also going to be held in a cage because they are potentially dangerous. For example, if you're walking, you decided to take your dog, your domesticated animal, your kitty cat, to the zoo, even your small child, giraffes are able to reach their neck out and attempt, because in their giraffe eyes, that's a potential food source. So they have to be kept in a a cage. But to be humane, they do allow a little kind of a slot at the top for the giraffe's neck to pop out of. They don't make the cages, unfortunately. The manufacturer does not make a size for a giraffe to enclose the entire height of the giraffe, but they are able to make a kind of a little hole in the top here so that the giraffe doesn't have to lower its neck, because giraffes do want to raise their neck from time to time. All right, so we've got our giraffe. What other zoo animals do we expect to find? Well, a snake. Snakes generally are left to explore on their own. At a zoo, they are not caged. And one of the main reasons for this is the low survival rate of a snake in captivity. So if you go to the zoo, you have to kind of be on the lookout for those poisonous snakes, because it's kind of when you go to one of those bounce castles, you sign a consent. And snakes have these kind of devilish eyes, and they do have nostrils. And then they almost have this like devilish grin. They have really big mouths to be able to eat their prey, and they have these fangs. And we're going to color the fangs. The reason I'm coloring this is because a lot of times snakes, well, just like cubits, they have teeth, and in dogs, and they don't regularly let the zoo doctors, the zoo dentists, brush their teeth. So, but they're able to eat a lot, including some of the zoo animals on display to keep the populations down. But their teeth, because of this decadence and what they're able to eat, they really get dirty teeth. So a lot of times their teeth are stained, kind of this nicotinous yellow, but also they can be a little bit darker depending on what they're eating. Snakes are scaly like a fish. Fish and snakes are very closely related. They're in the same grouping, if we want to be scientific. And so for my scales, I'm just doing a series of hexagons over the course and if you're following along at home, try not to encroach one of your octagons over the other, and they don't have to be full octagons. We just want to have enough octagons to Uh, and then snakes also are going to have smaller teeth because how would a snake chew their food with just the fangs? That doesn't make sense. Remember, form follows function, and snakes are certainly going to have to eat. All right. So then the snake's going to have a top of the head, of course, and snakes are going to have chins. Just like any other animal, they're going to have chins, right? And for this next part, I recommend if you are just joining our course, perhaps this is your first, second, or even third day, maybe hold back on this next part. We're going to draw the snake body, and this is one of the more difficult, challenging parts of a snake to draw. So a snake's going to have a long body. It doesn't have legs, so it moves around by inertia. And here's the trick. My more advanced students can follow along here. I'm not going to draw over the snake. That would defy physics. We want to honor physics. I'm going to go under it. And I'm going to curve back around. And snakes, all the poisonous snakes are going to have these rattlers just to alert their friends and family. It's kind of a signal. We can't draw motion in pictures. That's one of the things I want to stress to all of my students, but we can draw action lines and movement lines. Rattlers, which are associated with poisonous snakes, are there to signal to their colleague, their friend, their family, their acquaintance that, hey, I've just found some food. Everybody come this way. And some poisonous snakes have like a long stripe going down the middle with these patterns. These are not scales. These are actually patterns. So this is a sideways C, and then this is a sideways C, but flipped the other way vertically. And we want to honor that pattern throughout the snake. Snakes also get thirsty, so we can draw it a little bowl of snake water right here. Snakes actually don't have tongues that are big enough. They do have kind of a forked tongue, which is interesting because you and I, we have to use an actual fork to eat our food, but a snake can actually use its tongue to dig in. Say, it's spaghetti Friday at the zoo, or I don't know if they actually have that, but a lot of times snakes get people food, right? Or if they chew up their food, then they can use their tongue to kind of pick and eat in a civilized manner. So snakes are actually very civilized in that regard. But as you can see, the water would just fall through this middle part right here, so they're not able to slurp up water with their tongue. So as our theme today is form follows function, they actually have holes at the end of their fangs here, and they use them as straws. So snakes have two things. They have a built-in fork to stab their food and eat it with civility, with class, with dignity, and they also have fangs which double as straws. So they have like a double straw that they can just insert into the water bowl here, and then get rehydrated as needed. All right, let's keep moving, folks. All right, what other things do we intend to see? Well, we intend to see a visitor. We intend to see maybe a mother, and so what we're going to do here is we're going to draw a mother with a modern hairstyle. We're going to try to do some modern fashion. So kind of the fashion these days is a lot of ponytails. So moms and sometimes you'll see men with ponytails, and to each their own, right? So, and then the hair's kind of pulled back. So this mom has ponytail, and eyebrows are the gateway to the soul, and eyes are the gateway to the heart. So we want to make sure we get the corneas and the retinas kind of realistic, and the spacing right. Now, noses are the hardest thing to draw, period. In anything, noses are the hardest. So if you can't do that, do it over and over and over until you get it. All right? So you got ear, and ear holes are going to be dark because there's no light going into the eyes. Correct? Correct. All right. And women, just like men, are going to have chins, and women are going to also have lips. Interesting fact about women: in the old days, women wore khakis and slacks, like in the medieval times, before things got too bad. Too decadent. and men wore short skirts. So things change over time, right? All right, so we're going to keep her fashionable. So let's give her like a nice spring, kind of like a spring top, and maybe it has a picture of a carrot on it. And maybe this lady is a vegetarian, and the carrots have these stripes and bushy foliage on this end. And then we need to do the elbow. That's a tricky part of the bend right there, but we do have a bend, so we don't want to just forget that. All right, and maybe this lady has a nice little necklace here. All right, keep going. We're going to draw the legs. The kneecap is just going to be a sideways C. And we kind of ran out of room here for her feet, but that's okay. Maybe the person taking this photorealistic picture just cut off that part too, so that's fine. But maybe she didn't come along. Maybe she came with, she was babysitting, so we'll draw a little kid. Kids tend to have kind of bushy, wild hair. So this is, some people have told me this is just talent. You can't teach this, so just watch. You're welcome to try this at home. But I've been told I'm pretty good at it. Kids are going to have thinner eyebrows. Their eyebrows have not had time to really thicken. And they're going to have smaller retinas with larger relative pupae. And they're going to have smaller ears, of course. I'm sure you've seen old men with like really large floppy ears. That's just part of getting older. One thing I do want to do, I want to come back to our mom or babysitter here, lady. We're just going to add some brow lines, and we're also going to add some shading, and then some vertical lines on the lips. All right, so going back to our boy, a lot of times these days, one of the fashions is to shave the sides of the hair, so that's fine. But also, just a real photograph would have this type of shading too. And maybe this boy has a lollipop in his mouth. Maybe he's enjoying a lollipop that his babysitter brought him from the gift shop at the zoo. And maybe that's making the animals, including the snake, a little jealous. Nonetheless, they are walking along this path, and you want to make paths get smaller as you go away from the. See how I make it as perspective? It's 3D. Perspective. Perspective. Perspective is just another word to describe how shapes get smaller as you move away from the bottom of a page. And so there's. So what else can we find at a zoo? Well, we could find some maybe some cotton candy. Well, maybe there, yeah, like a cotton candy stand right here, so we can have some cotton candy. Maybe this kid sees the cotton candy and now he wants some of that. And then along the side of the pathway right here, they're going to have like signs indicating, what the next attraction is. So maybe the next attraction. Maybe the next attraction is a bear, so let's draw a bear. We still have some space. We still have room to draw a bear. Actually, I think on this side of the road is where we should draw our bear. So bears are going to have kind of the same ear as a tiger, but they're going to have kind of snouts that come out, and their nose is going to hang at the end of the snout. They have what's called hanging noses. And then they're going to have very sharp teeth. And kind of a round featureless face. And bears are amazingly able to stand on their own two legs for extended periods. And they have super duper clawy or clawed appendages. And this is to allow them to climb trees. Bears can climb trees. So really the giraffe and the bear have to compete for food. But at the zoo, the good news is that the zookeeper can always come in and kind of supplement any food that they're not able to get from the wild. Bears are going to be in cages, and luckily for them, they can fit into the entire cage. So, of course, it's going to have bars coming down. So you can make sure you keep your lines straight, guys and girls, because we do want to honor, realism. All right, so this is a nice sunny day at a zoo. Let's do a sun. Suns are not for the faint of heart. Drawing suns. There's some subtlety that's just inherent to drawing a sun. The sun rays and making sure that your shadows are relatively positioned to where your light source is. Looks like we're wrapping up here, but one thing we don't have is a horizon. So let's go ahead and draw our horizon. So we're going to do a horizon that's kind of going to start behind the bear cage, and it's going to kind of go across here, and there's our horizon. All right, looking good. Now, lastly, what we're going to do today is we're going to add some coloring to make this more photorealistic. And so you have 5 seconds to get your colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, today I've chosen the color yellow. It's one of my favorite colors, so I've chosen a yellow ink marker. And of course the sun is yellow, as we all know. And of course the rays coming off of it are. All right, what else is yellow? We don't want to color all the colors. That's called excess. Giraffes are definitely yellow, so we'll color the giraffe. Giraffes are actually one of the bravest animals in the kingdom. They'll stand up to anything. They'll stand toe-to-toe and neck-to-neck with pretty much with any animal out there. Tigers are not yellow, but maybe the food bowl is yellow, and maybe the cot or the bed of mulch. Mulch can have kind of a yellowish tint if it has food coloring added to it. All right, snakes are definitely yellow. They're certainly not the eyes now. This is what separates professionals from amateurs, is making sure you don't color the regions that aren't that particular color you're working on, and in the region you're working on. As said, snakes and fish are very closely related. Both are in the fish family. Snakes at the zoo are kind of free reign. Otherwise, they do not do well in a caged environment. Maybe this snake is having some lemonade. Carrots are orange. Orange is a very close color to yellow, so maybe the designer of this shirt was playing upon that. Kind of yellow, blondish hair, same thing. Maybe this boy, he seems cool. He seems like he's in with the times, so maybe he's got his hair colored yellow, and then of course Candy's very often yellow. Maybe this lady's shirt's yellow too. Maybe that's kind of, she wanted to match the color of the sun on a beautiful day going for a walk. So as far as the coloring, it looks like we're really done with the coloring. Let's see. Oh, our cotton candy. Cotton candy can certainly be yellow, like lemon flavored cotton candy. All right, folks. Well, I think we're finished for the day. So I hope you've been able to follow along. Today we've sketched out an advanced photorealistic scene of a zoo, and we have the friendly tiger, the brave giraffe here, the free roaming snake, maybe a viper, and then the mother or babysitter, and the in vogue little boy that she's babysitting, and then the bear, and then we have a little path taking the folks to see the various attractions that this zoo has. Well, as they always say, if you were unable to attain the level of elegance and sophistication and grace that I was able to articulate on paper today, please don't fret. It's taking me countless years to reach this level of mastery, but I think anybody would be hard-pressed to distinguish this from an actual high definition or ultra high definition photograph. So as I always say, enjoy the rest of your day.